Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube Mall Builders Thursday night general hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on mall railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. My name's Johnny Reb from the Southeast Rails. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the YouTube Mall Builders, the eMag, and the YouTube Mall Builders live show and the Tuesday night presentations. Go to youtubemallbuilders.com and there you can click on either the eMag live show or the Tuesday presentations. You'll find the schedule there for what's going on for the show and the Tuesday night hangouts. Tuesdays are every other week now. So I'll tell you who's the host and what their topic's going to be. The eMag comes out bi-monthly. It just came out, almost 3 weeks ago now, or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, around about the 14th, I think it was, middle of the month. So that's another good issue JD and his crew put out. Just had the live show back on the 16th, and that was another good show. Barry did his tech show last week. That was on workbenches. Let's see who all we got here. All right, on the panel we got DeBob's in scale, Man Cave. We got Mr. Newcastle. We got Lee, Union Pacific. We got Jason, Rochester and Illinois Central. Yeah. Got the Hillbilly Railroad from West Virginia. We got Mr. Hawks up in Canada. And we got Dave over here, Mr. Steel Mill. I guess I better turn the Q&A on so I can see what's going on there. Yeah, Mr. Dwight, you're funny. Hi, ladies and germs. We got Dwight, Dave. Glad to see you here. Mr. Sparky, how you doing tonight? We got James. Huh. Why aren't you on the panel, James? Want to say hey to all y'all. Appreciate you coming in. You got any questions, comments? Post them on up here. Andy just joined us on the panel. North and Western.
Evening, Andy.
Hey, Scotty.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
What's up, boys? Hey, Josh. Johnny, what's going on?
Howdy. Tell you what,
Sorry.
We want to do a little tutorial here real fast for Sparky. Tell you what, Sparky, go back out to the G Plus community page. You'll see where I posted the Thursday night hangout, and look in the comments section. You may have to click on the read more, but you'll see a link there for the panel. You can click on that, and it should bring you on into the panel here, because we got what?
Yeah,
I got one slot open, so
be quick.
go to the community posting and look in the comments, and you'll see the panel link. You can click on that, and that should bring you on in here. And then we'll take it from there. So, Curtis has joined us over in the Q&A. How you doing, Curtis?
Hey, Curtis. I probably won't be around long. We got a heck of a storm blowing in, so normally internet kind of suffers. So I'll hang with you for a little bit.
All right, not a problem.
Yeah, it's supposed to hit us about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Yeah, my kid won't like it.
Yeah, you and him both be under the sofa, huh?
No, we hide behind the couch.
But
I got something not a request, but a don't do. Okay, I love my best friend to death. He gave me a 3-stall roundhouse. Okay, nothing done to it, not stained, not painted, nothing like that. But Johnny called it, you know how you get these Heinz 57 dogs? Well, this was a Heinz 57 building. It was put together with Elmer's glue, hot glue, and super glue. Okay, hot glue is for crafts, building small things on your layout. It's not for putting buildings together.
Not at all.
Because when you do, you end up with, I don't know how clear this is going to be. Other way. Yeah, my camera shot, froze up.
now you're moving.
It just, it's a real pain in the tail to clean up and try to put back normally. And if you can't get the building to look like it was supposed to in the original, you can always do what I'm going to do and use it as an abandoned 3-stall roundhouse.
With a collapsed roof or something, and
Right, you know,
yeah.
windows broke out. I might get a crane with a big metal ball, like they're getting ready to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but hot glue is not for buildings.
Yeah, because he accidentally dropped it, and that's when it fell apart, right?
Oh yeah, it hit the floor, and it looked like a stick of dynamite went off in it.
Yeah, I like what y'all do is if you can't get it back together right, just go ahead and dilapidate it like you're talking about. And I'm sure you like the rest of us, you've probably got 1 or 2 engines that are not running,
Right.
or not worth fixing. Just rust them up real good, and stick them inside there, leave the door 1 or 2 doors open so you can see them.
I'm going to try to zoom in on this. I don't know how good it'll show up with my lighting. Let me see if I kill this light, if it helps. Oh no, that made it worse.
Yeah, the resolution's a little blurry, but
Yeah.
you know, probably can't help
Don't
that.
buy a Walmart camera. But when you use Elmer's glue and super glue together, where your seams go together, and it kind of oozes out, if you do not wipe that off ASAP, you will get your bricks filled in along this edge, and it's really hard to cover up because everything else is white, the glue's white, then the super glue dries it permanent, so now you got a white seam.
Yeah.
It
That's
doesn't
red
paint well.
brick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You paint over it a little bit and then just weather the heck out of it so it don't look too terribly bad.
Right.
Get a stucco effect like you know, with brick that way. Kind of cover it over with some white glue and then let some of it show through, then paint some of the white glue and then whatever. There's a way to get a stucco effect that's not so bad doing that.
Yeah, I think I froze up.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Hear that thunder in the background there, Andy.
Told you it was a good one.
Yeah.
I thought he was moving a table across the floor.
Oh, Scott Curtis put a comment up here. Hey, Scott, reach out to Millie Cyrus. She might let you use her wrecking ball. LOL.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, I know Curtis is happy. He just went and picked his wife up. She's been gone for 2 weeks visiting with her dad. Now he get back to eating home cooked food instead of TV dinners.
TV and microwave and McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, I know Mr. Newcastle over here is chomping at the bit. He's got a little something he wants to show us on how to, I guess, repurpose some trees to make them look like pine trees.
Okay, one thing, this is a commercial one I bought. You buy it at a store like Hobby Lobby. It doesn't really look anything good. You can make a cheaper tree that looks a lot more better by taking the snow trees, Christmas trees, just the ones with the snow on them, and then you take like a I don't know what color green. My grandma does these. I send them all to my grandma. She's a florist. I send her a lot of stuff. So you paint it like a green color, maybe like a dark green or something, and you just spray paint it. And that's pretty much what you do is you take the snow tree, take off the white little base. Here's one right. Wait a minute. Right here.
Oh.
And you use this. You take that off, and then you can stick it right in with the wire. So that's one way to making a tree looking better. Another cheap thing I found is printing off from Clever Model Builder's app or Model Builder's program. You can put it on your computer, and it'll print out brick like this. It'll print out doors and different stuff. And you can take that what's called? It's over there. It's under the stuff. It's like a foam, like it's a whiteboard or something.
Yeah, foam
and you put that
core.
as the back foam core, and
Yeah.
you use that and you lay it up, or you can put actual windows and doors in it. And it's not too. It's just something. If you don't have the styrene or budget, that's another thing. You can also crush your own ballast. We've talked about. Then we got the uncoupling magnets. If in O gauge, even if you have fast track, you can take out the big pins, then crimp those track around the little pins, the O27. Just pull them in, and you pretty much have an uncoupling track for $8 that are $35 in fast track, and just put some ballast around it, and it all looks good. There's a really good Facebook group out there for people who are on a budget called Budget Model Railroading on Facebook. If you want to join, it's a really good group. A lot of handy tips and everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, for right now. If you want me to talk more,
Not yet. We'll let somebody else have a little time. Yeah, I guess that storm got pretty bad. Andy dropped out.
Yeah.
yeah. Here's a previous billing from one of my previous.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Okay. What you been up to lately, Bob?
Well, I've been trying to get my electrical all figured out on my layout, get all my switches operational with a switch machine. I went with the Tam Valley system for with servos.
Yeah.
I went and purchased a Octopus 3, which is basically a servo driver that can handle 8 servos on it. And so I've got 5 servos hooked up at the moment. One of them is chained together, so one switch activates 2 servos. It's like a crossover kind of situation. And if I can pull this thing out of here, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is actually the second one that I've got. There's kind of a story behind that one. The first company I bought the Octopus 3 from, along with a remote alignment tool and some servo switches with LEDs on it, he sent me the old stuff. He sent me an Octopus 2. Well, the Octopus 2 does not have the port for the remote alignment tool, and you had to align everything on the board itself. So if you wanted to make fine adjustments, saying I only want that servo to throw to a certain point and then stop, and just the opposite the other way, you could align it on the board. Well, it's a little difficult to watch what the switch is doing if you can't see it. So they made a remote alignment tool, which is basically that whole push button assembly, and hook it up with the phone cord, the 6-wire phone cord that you got standard everywhere. I just happen to use my 12-foot NCE cord that I have for my wireless receiver, and you can stretch it out and go to every place in the room here to see where the alignment is going on that particular servo. And so you just plug in your servos on one side and your switches on the other side, and have fun. Put in a 12-volt power supply that they recommend, and that 12-volt power supply can power 4 of these units, so you can have 32 servos running off one power supply. So if you've got a lot of switch machines and so forth, everything can be run off of this. The one thing I did have a problem with was trying to get things to work, and I was trying to use a single servo driver, and the length of wire wasn't really working with it so much. So I said, you know, maybe I need more power, so that's why I went with the Octopus 3, and that actually worked out. I took the little servo wires. This is actually kind of, you know, a 30-inch one, but you got some 12-inch ones, and you just plug in your servo in one end, the other end goes into the switch machine driver. Well, I just basically took the 12-inch one and cut it in half. So I cut off basically the connectors. And then I took and went with 18-gauge wire. I went and got the Atlas 50-foot roll of 5 wires on it, and just used 3 of the 5 wires, and soldered in the connector onto those wires. The reason that you do that is the higher gauge wire is going to allow more of the voltage to actually travel greater distance. So these wires here are about 22-gauge wire, and it's really not going to hold a signal or a voltage for a long distance. So it goes for just about, you know, 3-4 inches, and then it goes to the larger gauge wire. So I could string it for a longer distance. So I've got one servo that's in the other room, and that's about 35 feet away, and so that it works. So I'm like, great, I can do that a little bit of distance and have everything controlled in my control board. Right now I just have all my switch machine, little push button, they're basically fascia controllers. They're just kind of hanging from the board right now. Sometimes they bang into each other and kind of switch the other switch machines, which really shouldn't do, but I got to build a control panel and everything else like that to mount them on, and I'll extend the wires out like I did before, and everything will look a little bit more cleaner and neater and more operational. That's what I did lately. But I also got my track finally figured out and operational fully, so I can now run trains from the yard up the helix in the background there, all the way up to the main line behind me near the ceiling and through the other rooms. I also took out a couple switches in the other room that were kind of acting up and put in some pico switches. I could actually hear them switch from this room, so it could kind of snap and it just echoes pretty good. So I knew it actually moved. And so that really helps, because otherwise you got to get a ladder and climb up there and check them all out. So now I can do some real railroading. Go through the whole yard, up and down the helix, route 2 reverse loops, and start having some fun before I start doing more work.
I got a couple comments here for you, Bob.
Sure.
James, does it take certain servos, or can you use standard Futaba or similar servos?
Oh, I just had my servos out here. There's these SG90s that I picked up. You can get them anywhere. I got these off of eBay. They're blue. They're typical, model aircraft servos. These, a little connector on there about 9-10 inches. Well, yeah, it's about 10 inches.
There are two types of servos, and controller boards are designed for either analog or digital. Yeah. So as long as you have a digital servo and you have a digital controller, or an analog servo and an analog controller, they will control, assuming they have enough power. Because there's some big old bad boy servos that require a little more juice. But for what we're doing, those little micro servos, they don't require much power. As long as you match digital to digital, analog to analog, you'll be fine.
Yeah, the thing of it is, you got to watch the grams of torque. Can you tell us what the torque is on that one?
This one says 9 gram.
Yeah, cause I think it's 9 to 10, 12 grams that you wanted.
Yeah, they're Tower Pro Servo, Tower Pro Micro Servo SG90 is the part number. And you can get them from just about anywhere. You can find a servo. Model railroad stores can carry them. Airplane, remote control airplane places and cars, they carry the same servo and use the same ones usually. Yeah,
you'll find them mostly at hobby shops that are more into RC planes and RC cars and boats. Hobbytown USA's got it. Hobby Lobby does not. They don't carry the servos that I've seen. But Hobbytown USA has them because they do a lot of RC stuff. Anybody online, or like you were talking about, eBay is a real good place to go to get those. Get them cheaper on eBay.
I actually got a really good deal on eBay. It said you can get 10 of them for, it was like $19. Well, they sent me 10 packs of 10 for $19. So I have 100 servos. I'm like, did they just say I quit selling these things and I'm done? Just give them the rest of them. So some idiot was working the packaging, but I was like, well, I'm not sending it back. And they sent me this and didn't complain. So maybe that's what I was ordering. I don't know.
Yeah, James also said that is a standard servo. So
yeah. And then I guess Sparky wants to know if it works with DCC. And yes, it does work with DCC. The Octopus 3, you can get an extender board that goes off and connects onto the I think one of these two sections there. But you can plug in a DCC control there, so you can program in your which servo you want to run. And most of the stuff that Tam Valley has can be run with a DCC control. The singlet that they have actually has a way to switch the polarity on your frogs, and also a DCC connection into it. That's the singlet there. I don't know if that's in focus or not. Not really in focus, but
Do you know if the singlet has feedback or not?
not sure.
I know the 8 does, but the older 4 does not. But I was curious about the singlet. I'd like to use some of those too. But
Yeah.
and I was going to mention that for you, listening to the turnouts in the other room is okay, but you could have feedback and have a couple lights on a control panel. So
Zoom. It's autofocus. There we go. This blue connector over here is where you hook in your power. You can. It's got a couple switches on each side. So you got the A, B, C is one set of switches, and the other one, D, E, and F, is another switch for another frog or something. So you can actually hook up 2 switches on this machine, and like a crossover, so they both switch at the same time, and they're both get powered with the frog. And so these are all pretty much customizable. This one is usually just used with one servo at a time. That's the common use. They can mount the board right to the servo mount that they have from Tam Valley, and so you can hook up a momentary switch. You know, the arm comes across as it moves your switch and pushes down on the other switch. You can set up a crossover like that if you don't have the version with this on there. You can set up your polarity switching. It takes a 5-volt power supply, so you got to use one of those versus a 12, because it actually says you need 5 volts. So it takes one servo, and you can put a Y cable on the servo, hook up 2 other servos to that same control.
Alright, got a couple comments here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. This one here is from the professor. Why do the YT video streams no longer have the click here to participate button at the bottom right of the screen? Makes it much harder to manually trace, find, participate. Alrighty, I cannot answer that one.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can say is I'm still learning the YouTube, so that may be my fault there on how it's posted. I'm not sure.
it's probably
That's
something with the beta version too, though.
Yeah,
Right.
if you're in the beta version, Professor, that means if you put your cursor up near the top right-hand corner, if you get 3 vertical dots, you're in the beta.
He
Which
won't
most,
get a choice. If
which,
he's just viewing the stream, he won't get a choice.
yeah,
I think the
okay.
view to participate may be an option only if you're not doing it recorded.
Normally it's on the live show. Normally it used to say that on the live show, but that maybe with the beta version, it may have changed things a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
is that to participate in Q&A or come in on the panel?
probably in the panel, because I think you have to be invited or click on a link to get on the panel.
No, because, I mean, I post 3 links. Professor, if you go to YouTube Mall Railroaders and G+, I've got a link posted there, or a post for tonight's show. Look in the comments section, and I got 3 links posted. First one is Q&A. Second one is the YouTube link. The third one is the panel link, which will bring you here into the panel, which we're full, but if you want to come in, we can get you in here. All right, another one here that the professors asked about is Are there servos with tortoise-style micro switches physically included? Does the modeler have to manually gludge some micro switches on?
I think you got to put it together. But
Yeah.
Tam Valley makes a whole assembly that you can attach that to, so they make it easier.
And those switches that are on the servlet, on the singlet, on the octopus are electrically actuated switches. They're not mechanical switches like
Right.
a stall motor, like a tortoise, has mechanical switches on it. But
Yeah.
most people, I don't think that matters unless you're pushing high voltage through it.
Yeah. If you want to use a mechanical switch, you can, you know, connect up a one of the servo arms to run the actual switch machine with the wire, and the other half of it rotates the other way and runs across and pushes down on the switch. You
I
know,
would hook
so
if I was going to do that, I think I'd hook a relay to the electrical switches. But
yeah, that's basically what it is. Just sort of a switch there to get something, get a light to turn on or something, or you just want to activate a reverse loop or something. You know, it depends on how you wired your thing up. You know, especially if you're replacing something you already have made and you're going to put in servos. Well, I like the way I had it. Don't want to rewire everything. Gives you an option.
yeah, servos are a little bit of a different animal than stall motors are, but
Mm-hmm.
I prefer them. They give you a lot more flexibility, and I mean, plus they're cheaper, but they give you a lot more flexibility too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, my servos take up less space than a tortoise.
Oh, yeah.
You know, about it's taking up at least maybe a third of the space. I can mount them on top of the board if I need to and cover it up with a building. You know, I don't have to mount it underneath, so it gives you a lot more flexibility. And plus, you can use it for other things besides just, turnouts. You know, you can use your animation, like I want to have my doors open on a roundhouse automatically. So you could wire up something like that, or wire up a garage door to open on a building, or putting crossing gates up and down. You know, you can use it for whatever imagination you can come up with.
Tomar makes a kit for taking a servo and hooking it to. I mean, there's a kit out there for tortoises too for crossing gates as well. But Tomar makes a kit for making I can't remember what it is. They make one for a semaphore to be run by a servo. They make a couple of kits for mounting up servos into animation.
Mhm. So I'm currently putting down cork in the yard, filling in between the tracks. So I've been working on that periodically. I haven't glued any of it down yet, so it's just kind of like make it fit. And then I purchased some shaper sheet from Woodland Scenics, and I'm going to do a video on making that mountain out of shaper sheet instead of styrofoam. And so I'm going to make some sort of thing to kind of cover up and make it look like it belongs there. And then hopefully it'll be removable, so I can pull off a couple sections, or the whole thing can slide right out, and I can do maintenance on under whatever's underneath there I have to get at.
Or if your wife wants her closet back.
That's my closet. She can't have it. And then I got to work on this kind of like a hump yard kind of thing that I'm making. I'm just going to load up my cars on the track. Maybe.
They do not take a
There we
lot
go.
of a steep grade either.
That takes a pretty good grade there. Can't have it too steep, no. But this is probably a good 6-8 degree. You know.
Originally, I thought of building a hump on my layout. Even the prototype had a hump in their yard, though I decided I didn't have enough room, and also
Yeah.
not enough. The actual prototype's bigger.
Well, this track's about 20 inches long. Of course, a men's scale.
Yeah.
We tried it on HO scale using pipe filters and brushes and various things between the tracks, but this was back in the 90s. Since then, I've seen a video of a hump yard, a model hump yard, being done very well, but it was done with pneumatics and computer control. So computer sets the speed of the rolling equipment and then blew air at an angle up to slow the car. That was
Yeah, I saw a guy at a train show in North Platte when I went out there. Harry Haythorne. There was a train show out there, and this guy had an O-scale hump yard that was operational like that. He was slowing everything down with air. It worked pretty good.
Yeah, with O scale, you got weight in your favor. We were doing it at HO scale, and of course, this was back years ago before computer control was common. I mean, this was a DC layout even. We didn't have DCC, so things are getting easier with computer control.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be an interesting yard job to operate.
Yep.
Not many railroads have humps yards on their layout. Not many model railroaders.
Yeah. They're a unique animal, and so that's why I said, I'm going to try and make something that I can just load, rolling stock onto my yard.
Yeah, I thought about it though. Yeah, not too much room though. They do. It is my prototype actually was the first hump yard.
Mm-hmm.
Hump yards on models are hard to do for a few reasons, not just the gravity reason, but typical hump yards on the prototype are very, very large facilities, and they're always fairly typically hard to model, whereas what I'm modeling, the yards I'm modeling on my layout are not hump yards, they're flat yards because they were relatively small yards shoved in the mountains. But hump yards are big, big facilities, and they're hard to model because of the sheer size. Like we talked about on one of the live shows trying to model North Platte, and you'd have to have you'd have to have a General Motors auto plant to model it effectively. So
yeah, in N scale, it's an 8-mile long yard.
30 feet per mile in N scale, so that'd be 240 feet long. So you need 240-foot long building. That's twice the size of an Olympic swimming pool.
Yeah. And then it's Andy, probably about a mile wide.
Sure.
Andy.
Sir.
Check your Q&A because Professor's got a link or two up there for you.
I love link or twos.
We'll hit the Q&A here for a second.
And Prof says something about Mike Conflo's overweighting cars fever, which I am an absolute advocate for. I weight my cars 2.5, maybe 3 times what NMRA spec does after Mike Conflo recommended it, and it works wonderfully. But that hump yard was not. They were NMRA weighted cars. So.
Yeah, we got Professors put up here. Silicon switching on the driver board gives what the driver thinks the position is, not what the turnout actually may be. In parentheses, turnout failed to throw, broken throw bar, etc., etc.
Hard to account for a broken throw bar because if you actuate a mechanical switch, like off from a tortoise or off from a switch run through the mechanism, if the throw bar was broke, that switch would still mechanically actuate. It'd be pretty hard to actuate off the actual points.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dwight's got a question up here for you, Bob.
Yeah,
Says Bob,
figures.
I have found cork to be expensive. Have you found a cheap source?
Well, funny he should ask. He was at the train show in St. Paul when I bought this sheet cork. Okay, why did my screen just freeze?
I just presented you,
Oh,
but
okay.
you are moving. You're not froze here.
Oh, it was froze over here. So anyway, but yeah, this is N scale sheet cork. It's about 30 inches long by at least 6 inches wide. Um, yeah, it was probably what I spent. I think I spent $10 on 5 sheets, something like that.
It's not too bad.
And so I got 10 sheets of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find stuff. I think Midwest Cork, the normal roadbed place, I think makes this stuff.
It's too expensive though. I bought what cork I've used from Hobby Lobby or office supply stores, meant to be hung on the wall as a cork board,
Yeah,
or Lowe's even. It's a lot cheaper. Now, it doesn't have the slopes on the sides like for roadbed, but it's
Yeah.
Comes in squares.
yeah. Well, this stuff doesn't have any slope on the side. It's just standard square
Yep.
stuff for putting in.
Yeah, that's what I got too for what little use I have for cork, but it is cheaper if you buy it that way. And for yards, it's perfect. For staging yards, it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I got it. I'm making a big yard, so I wanted to put it all out. I was thinking I was gonna lay it all out and then lay the track on top of it, and I was like, no, I shouldn't do that. I want it kind of more looking flush. You look at most of these yards and stuff that's kind of overgrown. It's just dirt going up to over the top of the ties and right up against the rails sometimes. Especially down at Bailey Yard, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, a lot of the sections of my mainline track on my prototype are heavily forested with grass, so.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I've got to put buildings on my layout. And as you can see there, I got a sanding station set up. And I'll probably put right where the camera's sitting a fueling station. So I'll have that little diesel area there.
Hey, Bob.
Yep.
Sparky mentioned that the shaper sheet is hard to use to form what you want without creases afterwards. When you add trees and such, it deforms.
Well, that's what the shaper sheet plaster is for.
No idea. Just putting what Sparky mentioned.
Yeah. I was looking at the video for using shaper sheet from Woodland Scenics. You put the shaper sheet plaster on there, which is, of course, according to them, says it's specially formulated to adhere to the shaper sheet cloth that's on there. Anyway, that hardens pretty hard to whatever form you have already bent into position. You can also strengthen it by putting the hydrocal sheets on there, like the casting material. And that even puts some more rigidity onto the sheet. So you can make it pretty stiff, because if you go to the train shows where Woodland Scenics is at, they have their shaper sheet display there. These things are freestanding. The edge is on the bottom, and it goes up about 9-10 inches, maybe 24, 25, 6 inches high for their displays, and they're solid. There's nothing underneath it holding it up. And so it could be very solid.
It's a good idea.
Make it.
It's a good idea. We watched Dave Vallejos did some work with Shaper Sheet. There's things he didn't like about it, things he did like about it. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag. But it is an interesting way to do the scenery, and I'm not sure that I would just, my only opinion is I think the jury's still out on it, but it's worth trying, and it may absolutely fit your bill in that unique case you're trying to do, probably real well.
Yeah, it's probably going to be, it depends on what you're doing as to what would be best.
Yeah,
yeah. And me, I'm looking to do something different, to show people, hey, you can do this way, or, make a specific looking rock face or a mountain or a hill or something, and do it faster than carving styrofoam and making a mess.
Yeah, I kind of see it as one of those deals where if you got a place that's hard to reach or whatever, you can build it outside that area where it's easier to manipulate it and get it all shaped up, and probably scenic and everything, and then set it back in there.
Yep.
So you're not stretching all over your layout and everything.
That's probably true.
Guess it does hold its form.
Yeah, you can make an easy access panel area that you need to reach in, like covering up a tunnel or something. You just pull it right off and reach right in there. You have easy access. You just lay it back down, and it's seamless, especially if you make it look like there's no edge. A lot of different things. So at least I'm going to give it a try.
You mean there was an option I could have used instead of forming 15 rocks into a curve and filling all the cracks? And
pretty much.
You'd still have to form rocks, brother. It don't matter what the foundation is. The molds are still straight. So
yeah, I did get some rock molds, so I'm going to make some molds for some, different rock face stuff, and so I can attach to the shaper sheet or different areas around the layout. Try that as well.
I'll be interested in watching your videos, see how you do it. Just out of curiosity. I'm working with foam and that ground goop, or whatever it's called, and I'm loving it. It's easy to work with, I think. So I'll be interested to see what you do with yours.
Yeah, I just don't want a lot of weight on mine as well, because it's basically just hanging up here. On
I got the same problem. I got the same problem. My layout's just styrofoam, no wood substructure. One of my layout panels, 8 foot long by 4 foot wide. So they're only 2 foot in lateral length, but so not 32 square feet. They're more like 25 square feet, and they weigh 10 pounds complete. Track, road bed, scenery, styrofoam, trees, 10 pounds. I built scenery with plaster years ago that was 10 pounds per square foot. So
yeah, it's a little heavy.
All right, Professor's got a couple of comments here. This is one from, I guess, way back. The benefit of the benefit of tortoise-style switches are that they can be adapted to fire almost anything. Electrical switch on the driver board or limited current and are not true turnout position feedback. Well, silicon switch.
But you can get that with a relay. You can get higher current, and I would still argue that mechanical switch at the tortoise is really not that different than the mechanical switch at the stall motor is not that different than a silicon switch at the circuit, because they still just tell you what the control mechanism thinks the turnout position is, not actually what the turnout position is. But there's benefits to both, and servos are really good at controlling all kinds of things too. But I use stall motors most of my life, and they're very, very tortoises, that is, and they're good, no problem. I'm a recent convert to servos.
I tell you what, we got a kind of an interesting question here from the professor. Jim, I'll let you answer first, and then Andy, because you have a different recipe, I'll let you answer second. Professor Scott, what's the ground goop recipe, Mr. Jim?
Well, what I used, which is basically, I don't remember the gentleman's name that invented this, but
Lou Sassy.
equal, who?
Lou Sassy.
Lou Sassy. Equal parts of vermiculite, the fine vermiculite, celluclay, latex paint, and white glue. I mix mine up. It's a fairly small batch, but I do 4 cups of each. Just to save on the glue, I didn't like it on the first batch. The second batch, I put 3 cups of glue in instead of 4, and then 1 cup of water. That made it a little more pliable for laying it down. And all the brown that you see in my camera there, that's all that ground goop. Really like it because I just laid my foam up there. I stuck some skewers in there to keep them from moving while I spread the ground goop out. So I didn't have to glue the layers together. And what's nice about it is I wanted to add some mountains. Well, I guess I don't know if I can show you this or not, but without it freezing up on me. Yeah, right there. This was flat to here and then flat to here, and I just cut out a couple pieces of styrofoam here, here, and here. Stuck some skewers in it and just come right over it with this ground goop because it all blended in with my original ground goop. So, I mean, I like it. I like to use it. I'm glad Andy brought it to my attention. But equal parts of the ingredients that I mentioned. This is how I do it.
Andy?
Oh, all right. Now, I use Mike Conflode's recipe, or pretty doggone close to it. So, Mike Conflode does not use the white glue in his. Now, after I originally found it from Mike Conflode, I hadn't heard about the white glue and did it his way. Well, I had done some research on it and seen the white glue method, and I've tried that, and a small section of my layout is done with the white glue, but it's harder. So planting tree, once it's completely dry, I find it to be a harder surface, which you may want, but in my case, I like the ease of planting trees, especially my really good trees that just have nails on the bottom or T-pins on the bottom, and they're really, really easy to plant if I don't put the glue in. I also use, much like Mike Conflode, I don't have a specific recipe. I just kind of mix it by feel, just depending on the use case. If I'm doing something steeper, where the ground cover that's going to go over top of it needs more bite, I will put more vermiculite in it. If I'm doing an area that needs to be smoother, like where I'm going to put a field of static grass, I use less vermiculite. Also, if I want it to be smoother after it starts to set up, I'll come back and wet my finger and rub it to kind of get a much smoother surface, like for roads, especially mud roads, dirt roads. I do that. But I don't have a great recipe, as me and Jimmy talked about that too. He wanted an exacting recipe so he could keep track of all the supplies and all that. And even though I'm a very technical, engineer-oriented person most of the time, when it comes to making ground goop, I have better luck mixing it with different mixes depending on use. But I mix roughly the same amount of paint and celluclay, and I do not put as much vermiculite. And I don't put white glue in it. And if I'm going to leave it for a while, I'll dump a cap full of pine sol or something in it, but I don't often do that. But it's easy to work with. If you decide you want to change something, like I don't pre-figure out where I want to put rocks or rock castings or anything. I just cover everything in it. Then I come back with a big utility knife, cut a little hole, stick a little ground goop in it, shove a rock casting in it, take a skewer and form the scenery goop around the rock. Couldn't be easier to work with.
Yeah, I wanted to mention I was able to poke skewers right into this stuff.
Yep.
So I mean, it's even though it is, you tap it, it feels solid.
Yep.
There was no problem for me to poke skewers in it, but of course I wouldn't be able to plant a super tree in there. I'm sure the trunk would break, but it won't take nothing for me to take a scratch owl or something and just give it a little starter hole to stick in. But
Yeah, it don't matter if you use
I
gold
was
or not.
fixing to say that I've used ground goop out at the store on that layout that we work on Wednesday nights, and I just use an awl, a wood awl that you use to make small holes in wood when you go
Yeah,
to drill, and it punches through there just fine. I used the glue in that out there at the store.
it's not too bad to poke holes if you're only poking a few holes. The other day on this section here, this wouldn't have been too bad. I planted some. I mean, there might be 15 trees here. That wasn't too bad. But when I was planting this section up here, in this 3 feet, there's 80 or 90 trees. There's around 90 trees. So poking 90 holes and finding them in the leaf underbrush that is there, it's really tricky. And then this new underbrush method I've got that I'm using in here is made with paintbrush bristles and stuff. It's really hard to find holes in. So poking holes, and I poke the hole, leave the awl there, then try to swap it out with the tree. It's a little tricky. So if you could keep it soft enough that you could just plug a tree into it, that's pretty awesome. If muddy was not the problem, I would do my scenery under all these trees and stuff. I would do it with florist foam and not put scenery goop on it. That way I could just plug trees and sticks and underbrush. Because all of this, not only does it have 90 trees, but it has literally thousands of, I don't know, hundreds anyway, of this kind of stuff. A little undergrowth material. So that gets really tough to poke that many holes. I mean, poke holes for all this, it's 500, 800 holes. I mean, I'm serious. It's a lot of holes. And I use, works like hot glue, but wherever it is, I got a bottle of this glue, this stuff right here, Faber-Tag. Kind of like hot glue, but not hot. I mean, you can microwave it or something, but whatever. And I use it, and sometimes some of that material you can just stick to the surface. But most of it you got to have holes for.
so you're telling me the super tree trunks will poke through that ground goop that you have?
Yeah, the big ones. Yep. So, let's see. And there's differences, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So, these pretty good sized super trees, like that bad boy, which is not for straight, this is just my best pile. But that big bad boy, yes, no problem. I can shove that through super goop. Now, if that goop's real thick, but the scenery goop over top of this styrofoam here is only a 1/16 of an inch, so I can pop through it. Now, these much smaller ones, no, of course not. They'll break. I mean, you can look at them and they break. So, no. But I also paint all of my super trees. Some people do not. I paint all of mine, and that makes them much stronger. And then all of my big trees either have a T-pin in them if they're smaller like this one, or the largest ones have a nail in them. And they just stick right in. I mean, I just stuck that in without. I mean, I didn't stick it back in the same hole. I just shoved it in the styrofoam. But a scenery goop's normally only about a 1/16 thick.
Yeah, Professor, you're right. That left part of the scenery behind Andy's head there is a pile of stuff that's holding up his his layout.
Oh, yeah.
It is a precarious pile of spray cans and books, etc.
Well, the spray cans are just sitting there. They're not holding up. The boxes are, though. I tell you, in my defense, it's
my
tough
fault
to do things massively different than you ever have before. And every line I've ever built before were down here somewhere. This layout's at eye level. And that was a serious commitment to go put a bunch of brackets and support on the wall. So I stuck it up there on boxes and crap and figured I'd live with it for a little while and see if I liked it. I love it. I'm going to put the brackets up. But, there's buildings to build and crap. I'll get around to that stuff later.
Let me interrupt here a second. Lee, are you there? Yo, Lee.
Yo, Lee.
Alrighty. Let's see what I can do here. That ain't it.
But that's one thing I'd say in my defense about stacking it up on boxes. People should try things more instead of just, let's just do that or commit to it. But I wanted to experiment with it more before I made such a massive commitment as bolting it to the benchmark and it being like right there. Because I'm short, but it's literally at eye level. The track is right at the tip of my nose.
Oh, okay.
Which that height also contributes a lot to my statements against puffballs here lately. You know, my layout's not like a lot of people's. With this height, it changes your opinion about some things.
All right, I don't want to interrupt for a second here. Where'd he go? Sparky. Hopefully you're still with us. Curtis has put the link up for the panel in the Q&A. If you can do a copy and then put it in your URL at the very top of your screen, paste it up there, and then hit the enter key. We got one spot open now on the panel. See if they'll bring you in. Oh, come on, Sparky. Give her a shot. What you got to lose? Mr. Hawks needs another Canadian on the panel.
His sanity.
I've got a question that I'm hoping somebody here can answer, or maybe somebody in the Q&A might know the answer. And that's, I seen, in fact, Miles Hale is the one who told me this, to dip the super trees in a glycerin water mix. I believe it was 4 parts water to 1 part glycerin.
Yeah.
The glycerin at the drugstores is super expensive. Now, I have found some glycerin online, but it's called vegetable glycerin.
That's what it is.
Is it the same stuff? Is that what I'm wanting to buy, is the vegetable glycerin?
Same stuff that's in this thing right here.
Right.
The vegetable glycerin. And it's the same stuff at the pharmacy, same stuff that you buy online. There are things that are glycerins that aren't vegetable glycerin, but glycerin is vegetable glycerin. Unless it specifically says otherwise, and anything other than vegetable glycerin would be very expensive.
Well,
Or expensive.
What Miles was telling me is it's a good preservative if you buy any kind of dried plants that you're going to want to put on your layout.
Without painting them.
Right.
If you're going to paint them with a latex paint, just paint them. So my super trees, I paint. These things right here, I dip in glycerin. I got a jug of that stuff right here somewhere.
You know, if you go to Grandpa's house, get some nitroglycerin from his pills. You know,
Well, I
put
got
enough
some of
it
that
in a jar.
I got some of that right here already, but
Oh, you're making bombs?
yeah, we sweated some dynamite not too long ago. No,
I can send you some.
NSA, I'm joking. Don't show up
NSA,
at my house, please.
Andy Professor has also asked, where did it go? Oh, shucks. That is sedum that you're using, right?
Now, I use a little bit of sedum, but not much. Most of these trees are super trees. There's a little bit of sedum mixed in. Let's see if I had some up there. There's a little bit of sedum mixed in just to kind of produce canopy, especially toward the back. And then there's some monobrush pine trees. And then these are sagebrush. Scenic Express sells it as super sage, but it's expensive from them. I mean, it's like $25 for 8 sticks worth, and I got 2 big old boxes of this stuff. I've made around 40 of these trees so far. That's counting a few smaller ones, but 40 of these trees, including some that are 14 inches high, is the biggest one. But sagebrush is my favorite thing. Now, pine trees, I'm still I'm still really struggling with a good pine tree, and I may just buy them. I just don't like that. But I made one pine tree, and it took me like 8 hours. Boy, I mean a good. Where's this? I made one good pine tree, and it took me like 8 hours. And it's not perfect, but it's my first one. So, but 8 hours is a long time. Now, the first one of these things I made, it took me a while too. But now I can knock out, a 9 or 10 inch tall tree. I can knock out in 30 minutes. One of these big boys, I can knock out in an hour, maybe a touch more. 8 hours is tough. That was 3 nights of work. And I can knock out I can knock out one of those in 5 or 10 minutes. And those are, that's a sagebrush tree, but pretty good looking little small sagebrush tree. That one's been whitewashed with some oil paints, but most of them I don't paint. That one I lightly sanded and brushed some dilute white paint on it, oil paint on it to get that certain kind of look. But all of these, I soak them in glycerin. I don't soak them. I dip them really good in it, let them soak for a minute or two, and then hang them up, let them dry. But that's I don't. Scenic Express used that matte medium stuff, and I tried it when I first bought a super tree. That's what I did, and I hated that process. So I straightened them with a soldering iron and spray paint them.
Yeah, Professor's got up here old school car radiator glycerin worked great. The newer safe formula glycerin alternative fluid does not. It turns the plants black.
Huh. Well, vegetable glycerin, there's a risk of it turning black over a long enough period of time. That's why I chose not to use it on my super trees. And if you paint them with a pretty healthy coat of a latex paint, they're going to be sealed anyway. So.
Well, the way I understand it is the glycerin soaks into the wood, into the plant material, and keeps it from getting brittle, keeps it softer for longer. Then if you just paint it, your material is going to get brittle, and I'm clumsy, bump my elbow into a tree, have it snap off easy, So that's my thoughts. I want to soak my trees in something. I mean, first of all, that Scenic Express trees is not cheap. $30 for a little cake box of weeds, basically. But
they go a pretty long way, though. But yeah.
Well, I got 2 boxes, but point being that they're expensive, and I don't want them to break once I get them on my layout. If I brush it with my hand, I want it to survive my clumsiness, I guess.
Yeah, I broke a bunch of them. Plenty of them I break, and they are brittle. Even if you paint them, they're still brittle. So I'm curious if you try the glycerin. I'll try the glycerin here. It just seems like a whole lot of trouble for.
Well, and you know how I work. I'm a slow worker because I don't want this layout to get done too quick. But I'm planning on putting a few clotheslines in the room here, soaking the trees in the mixture for, I believe they said 15 or 20 minutes. Clothespinning it to the upside down to the line, and then put a clothespin on the tip of the tree that's hanging down. And I guess because the material is softer from the glycerin, we'll straighten them doing that because the weight of the clothespin on the bottom that's hanging.
Yeah, that's how Scenic Express recommends doing it too, and I tried. I started with that, but I just didn't like the process. It was tedious, slow, and hard. But Derek Glass done a video on the soldering iron trick, so I just take them out, pop them with a soldering iron a couple times to straighten them up, spray paint them, let them dry for 5 minutes, glue them.
I'll have to try it. I didn't know. I just seen a video of someone doing it. I don't even remember who, but
yeah, Joe Fugit done a video on doing it that way, and that's
maybe that's who it was, Joe Fugit.
Yeah, and Joe Scenic Express, their recommended way, their little piece of paper that they send with them says, soak them in matte medium, hang them up. So I did, but it was just, God, it took forever to get anything done with them. And I got a lot of trees to make, and I could make, in 2 evenings, and I can do that many trees. That's 100 trees or so, and 90 trees. I do that in an evening.
Well, if I put three clotheslines up there, what the hey, I could hang 75 trees at one time there. It wouldn't take too long.
Nice, like Troy's basement. Clotheslines back there.
Yeah. I'm sure his wife would really like that. Professor's got a comment up here. Trees. Take however many you think you need and multiply by at least 3.
3.
At least. I thought I could do this whole thing down here with 100 or so trees. You know, 8 foot, 4 foot this way. That's, you know, roughly 12 lineal foot around the back. Call it 10 running foot of layout. That's the way I average it. I figured 100 trees. No way. It's 50 trees a foot around the layout. So when I go 15 by 15 feet around this room, that's 600 trees minimum. Just for this one deck. And the peninsula is going to eat 600 trees. So one deck of this layout is 1,400 trees. My total count for all decks of the layout when I get done, I'm estimating between 4,000 and 5,000.
Yeah, Professor put up here also, oops, not radioglycerin. I meant glycol. It's been a long time since I last picked some plants for the layout. Let's see, we got another one here. Glycol works great on, I have a hard time with it, ant seed, weed, asparagus fern, and other foliage natural plant sources. So, might try the glycol.
The glycol difference, because I use that asparagus fern. That's what that tree is, that pine tree is asparagus fern.
Yeah, here's one here. He's got glycol pushes the water out of the plant cells, replaces with glycol, effectively stops plants growing, but does not kill them. Kind of holds them in stasis.
All right, maybe I'll try that more on these other trees. I did do it on my sagebrush trees because I knew that was going to be a requirement with the sagebrush. But, doggone, I don't need an extra step in tree making process, but I'll try it. I'll see if it helps.
Yeah, Sparky's got a question up here. Would a vinegar and steel wool mix not do the same thing? You have to make this stuff a couple of weeks in advance, but still adds the old effect to the wood parts.
I got 2 or 3 bottles of steel wool and vinegar. That's a great trick I got from Rod Perry. And it's a good stain. It's an old school stain. It's been around for 2,000 years or something, or 1,000 years. It works, but it's really sensitive to time. You can't keep it. So it takes 2 or 3 weeks to start making, and it's a good brown stain for about a week. And then about a week it starts getting orange, and then a week after that it's all rusty looking, which does good for simulating rust stain in ballast. But it's really sensitive. So I got 3 bottles of it right now, I think. And one was made 6 months ago, only used for rusting stuff. It also makes static grass look like pine needles. I like that effect.
Oh, here you go, Andy. Professor. Andy, I had a plan for a West Virginia Greenbrier micro, 4 foot long, and was thinking to expand it to 8 feet. But Andy's tree quantity experience makes me think I'd better off sticking to the original 4 foot scene plan.
Just make it narrow. Trees don't get consumed by lineal distance of layout. They get consumed by depth. And I originally thought about making this 14 or 16, 18 inches wide, maybe. And I went with 2 feet. And I regret that because it just eats a lot of trees. Its width is where your trees go.
Hey, everybody on the Q&A, quit deleting your questions and comments. You're messing me up here.
You stop presenting me, Johnny, if you would.
Yeah. I'm paying attention to this Q&A. Start to read something, all of a sudden it disappears on me.
Well, I decided to put some buildings on mine just to see what it looked like.
And I'll represent you.
Something else to look at.
Alrighty, now you're presented.
Yeah. I picked up a new little toy the other day. It's a Broadway Limited water tower that is automated. I don't know if you've seen these already before in HO or whatever, but the water spout comes down. There's a servo and a controller in here along with a speaker, and it makes the sound of the water going into your water tender. and you hear some guys talking every once in a while, you know, hey, you put too much water in, turn it off, you know, that kind of stuff like that. You know, so they got like 4 or 5 different sayings that they'll play randomly, and
Well,
so
make you work, Bob.
that's pretty good. I haven't plugged it in yet. I just got it the other day.
Well, hurry
That
up, plug it
Broadway.
in. I want to see it work.
That's the one
Yeah.
for Broadway.
Yeah. Well, if you want to see it work, check out my video from the N-Scale train convention. It's on my channel, the Bob's N-Scale Man Cave. And I think I also have it showing from the National NMRA convention video too. They're also coming out with that Thunder and Lightning, they're going to call it, where you can set up a storm in on your layout.
That's awesome.
LEDs in different areas of your layout, and you can have a big thunderstorm going off, and you can have that set up on a timer if you want to, and you can do all sorts of stuff with it.
It sounds good too. I seen it at the convention, and it really did sound good. And it's a lot easier than my method of, because I'm building this water tower. It's a laser wood kit. I'm building it, gutting it, putting speaker in it, putting servos in it. I got a path for the servo rods and all that other stuff. But I ended up with so much doggone time in it to make that one little trick happen and put some sound in it. That's going to take a lot of time. And you cheated, though, so that don't count.
Yeah, I know I cheated. But
Yeah, Professor's got up here, going back to the steel wool. Vinegar plus steel wool equals sweet and sour weathering. See old NG and SLG.
Yep. Yeah, it's tricky. Everybody ought to try it once, though. I mean, it's got a curious effect, but it's not mainstream. You want mainstream, buy this stuff. This stuff's great.
Yeah, the Professor's got up here BLI Tower speaking of the alternative uses for servos and drivers.
mm-hmm.
He asked about the quality of sound in there too. Is it actually sound as an 8-bit or 8 kilohertz? And I would say it's probably 8-bit audio. It's okay for what it is, and given the, it doesn't have a wide dynamic range of frequencies. It's not horrible, but for my water tower that I'm putting in, I'm going to use a pretty high quality sound module.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded fairly good. So.
It does, yeah. And the reason that it don't have to be that high quality is it doesn't have a very big dynamic range. Now, a Thunder and Lightning system has a pretty wide dynamic range of audio. It has that kicking speaker sound that they ought to hook with their surround sound Thunder, or whatever that system is, that Paragon 3.
The Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder, yeah. They ought to hook it to that so that subwoofer will kick a little bit too.
Yeah, he did say you can plug your subwoofer into it.
Oh, okay.
Because Sparky just made a comment up here about that, and the price tag for their Thunder Storm is rather high for doing a 3-foot section, and I'm still not ready to spend that cash for something so limited to space.
How much does it cost? Anybody know?
He hasn't put it out yet. They're still working on the price.
I didn't think so.
Points.
I mean, it's going to be high. It's probably limited, but it's a really good system, and you could do it yourself for, the cost of a $10 Arduino and $4 worth of LED strips. You could do it for $15, no problem. Well, you need a speaker, but so you're out $20, $25 to build it yourself, but you got to be willing to do that. A lot of people aren't, so.
Right.
Yeah, Professor also put up here that acronyms I'm not good at, since I said NG and SLG, that equals some narrow gauge and short line cassette magazine.
That's a great one. I just hate that it has to be on dead tree, but I love that magazine. Their best ones are, well, Model Railroad Hobbyist is digital. That's my favorite. But short of that, Railway Model Craftsman Railroad Model Craftsman is great, but it's only available on dead tree.
Since Professor is in here tonight, Professor, hopefully you got a pencil and paper handy. Sparky, also get a pencil and paper. I'm going to give you my email address. I can't put. Can you put that up in chat, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, put my email up in the chat, please.
Let's see. Anybody watching it won't be able to get it that way.
Huh?
Anybody watching won't. Oh, I got you. I see what you did. You need me to paste it for you.
Yeah, in the chat.
Yep. Stay by.
I mean Q&A. Q&A. But Andy's going to post my email in the Q&A. So, Professor, if you would send me an email, I'd like to talk to you.
Can I post the Q&A while I'm on here? I could read it.
Yeah, you can post it.
Okay.
Don't
I
show
haven't
up.
figured that one out yet.
Yeah, don't show up for me. Don't show up where I can post.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, you can.
you'll have to start another browser and go to the Q&A.
Okay. All right. I get you.
I know you can do that part. I can't.
I'll take care of it.
But anyway, if Sparky and Professor would send me an email, Sparky, I'll see what I can do to help you out in finding these links and get you going on Hangouts. Professor, I'd like for you to contact me because I'm doing, Big Bill and I are going to do a show probably in September. It'll be a special. It'll be on Sunday with a couple of people in England. We'd like to get some other people in other countries. So we're going to try and adjust our time to better meet y'all's time so we could get you into a show. That's the reason why I like to talk to you. We're going to do a show with Kathy Millett and the Terrain Tutor. And we're also, Bill said he's going to try and get a hold of Mr. Choo Choo. All three of those are in Britain. So we'd like to expand our shows out somewhat.
Yeah, see, they've expanded it to West Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, if you guys would send me an email. You got Wild Bill's phone number? Sparky? Is that Big Bill? I think my email should be in the UTMilebuilders.com website too. You know, if y'all want to go check there. But just in case if we have problems getting it posted in the Q&A, my email is southeastrails@gmail.com. That's all one word, southeastrails@gmail.com.
Do we have any flyers on the website? Like you can download and print them off?
No, we got the e-magazine.
It'd be nice to pass out to my local division and club and the hobby shop.
Yeah, that'll be something I'll have to bring up at the team meeting. Professor's got up here in the Q&A. Many maulers have discussed how to do simple thunderstorm style on the Lock Sound Yahoo group. Also on MRH forum a few times over the last few years. And he's also got up here, where'd it go? Let's see. Okay, here's one, Sparky. Get a Pricom Dream Player plus a simple computer, multimedia PC speaker rig, and you're off to the races. Oh, what's this, Professor? Your people will talk to my people will talk to your people. It's all mall ring answer to Hollywood.
On railroading.
It's all volunteer. It's all volunteer here.
Krakov's awesome too. It's a little expensive too, little expensive, but it's awesome. Their lighting system is awesome, but my layout would cost $2,000, so I'd be able to get myself a DMX equipment, DMX 12 equipment. All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, Andy, have a good one. Thanks for coming in on the panel.
See you, Andy.
Yeah.
Lee, there's room on the panel if you want to get back in.
Oh, is he back? Oh, yeah, come on back in the panel, Lee.
So one thing is be kind of maybe a little bit distracting to the operators when you're running trains. You would have to turn it down really low, or just turn it off and just run it when you're home. I tried in one operating session to play when we're running just one single train. Play prototype scanner chatter, crew talk and different stuff through my phone. It kind of got a little distracting.
Yeah.
I do that by myself, though. When you have groups.
Mr. Phil,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
Good, good.
That's good.
Hey, Phil.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Bob.
Mr. Hawks, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I could see you working on your layout there. I think I disappeared. You're out of camera. Looks like you're still working on laying that court down, huh?
Well, no, cork is done for the yard, and now I just finished the tracks. So
Oh,
the
okay,
yard is
yes.
almost finished.
Yeah, I see a little shine there from the light on the track now. Okay.
It was
Maybe.
easy. It was all well, almost like all straight lines.
Yeah. About 2 weeks, we'll see a train running through the yard, huh?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to connect everything. Now it's just the yard. I still have. I want to connect the peninsula here. I don't know. Can you see me? Yeah.
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 Well, I got to finish this peninsula so that I could get everything running. Well, at least for one section.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Is your camera remote? Oh, you got it set to follow your face, hadn't you? Because your camera keeps moving around.
Oh,
zooming
really?
in.
Yeah. It just
Zoom.
zoomed in on the very corner of the peninsula there. So you must have it set to follow your face.
Okay, then I won't show up my face.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you was over there working, had your back turned, your camera started moving. Yeah. I'm assuming that's what it is, that you've got it set to follow your face. That's what they call it.
I'll correct that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've put in about 75 tracks.
Wow. 75 3-footers.
Yeah.
A lot of footage.
Probably tomorrow I'm going to start on the staging area at the bottom. I should have done that first, but I was anxious to do the top part.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be one nice looking layout when you get done.
I'm hoping to have all my track work done by December.
Okay.
I still have, oh gee, I got too much to do.
Yeah.
Aren't you part of the Maurer operation group on Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought I see on your logo somewhere else.
Uh, I do post on Facebook, and I've got a blog also going on.
So you can always ask questions on that Facebook group. It's pretty helpful with the operation. And even our hobbyists. That's also a pretty good place when you start doing operations to ask questions.
I don't think operations are in the near future. Maybe in 2-3 years from now.
At least before you do scenery. Just recommended.
All right, Lee, let you know we got room on the pound. You can come on back in, and I was the one that kicked you off. Where the pound was full, you were gone, and we were trying to get somebody else in. Wasn't sure when you was coming back. So come on back on the panel.
Well, since you're presenting me still,
Oh,
I am going to show you the circuit panel for my servos. Come on, camera. Okay. Here's the octopus all wired up. And I've got all my servo cabling hooked up there. Kind of see where I kind of jumpered in a 18 gauge wire into the servo connectors. And then I got all these push buttons here all lit up. And they got a little push button on there, and you use it as a toggle switch. And this will mount right up to a fascia board or onto your control panel, and put your lights through the top and the push button through the other side, and then you just screw it all in there, and it keeps it nice and tight up against your board. This is the remote alignment tool for circuit card. You got the 3 buttons on down here, and you just plug it in with your cable into the port and into the other one. You can adjust everything. What I'll do is I'll eventually clean this up and run all the wires through the side up here and make it a little more neat looking. I had 4 AR1s in here, and that turned out that it was probably a bad idea because it didn't really work right with shorting out the layout. So I ended up converting my helix to a reverse loop. And so the helix is hooked up here, and the main layout comes out of this circuit breaker up here into the wires going up to the main layout, and the reverse loop wires come out of here, so it comes out of this AR1 down to the bottom and back out to the bus line for the helix, which is all up here and all the way around the other side. So I've got a bunch of wiring on either side of the helix. And then this other reverse unit is for the yard. I've got a loop in the yard, and so that is completely separate. Between the helix and the yard, I have a section that is wired up to the main line, so the polarity is all correct, and that is probably about 2 feet of track to separate the two reverse loops. And that's pretty much straightforward what I'm doing right now. I've got another section here for my turntable area, so I've got a whole circuit breaker set up for that, and I'll put another AR1 in here for switching the turntable. And then I'll pretty much be done for this area. And I may put up a track plan on the board as well, and probably a breakout sheet so I know where the wires went and why they're there, why they're connected here, so I can do some troubleshooting or at least have something to refer to if I need to. And so I've got my reverse loop isolated right over here, and also back here. So this section here is basically still part of the main line. So it'll switch when it comes in there, and it'll switch when it gets over to there. And this other track here is double gapped over on the other end. So I actually have a shorter reverse loop section now. But if I wanted to just have like a multi-consist or something like that, or I needed a longer section that wasn't going to give me a short, but it was one part in a reverse loop, the other one in another reverse loop, I can always come in on this other track here and get all the way around without having that problem. So it took a little bit of redoing to figure all that out. So that's what I've gotten done so far.
It's looking good, dude. There ain't no doubt.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. I love to look at it. I hate to work on it. Sometimes it takes a while to get something going.
Hey, Phil.
Okay. Yeah. Phil has changed his camera around, so looks like he's got some corn growing on his layout.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I
Miss
got it
Marie
all.
turned into a farmer.
Well, Curtis had gotten me the corn, and they didn't. Nobody makes the corn that I was looking for, which I wanted it to be slightly green, but I also wanted it to be brown, like it was just about totally dry, you know.
Yeah.
So I had asked her to do some painting for me, and she went through and painted the leaves, the tips of all the leaves. And over the last couple days, I went through and planted the 90 stalks that I had.
So was it at least knee-high by the 4th of July?
Yeah, yes, it was. Definitely knee-high. It's probably the height of a person now. Probably
Awesome.
over a person, so they're an inch tall to start with, but by the time you stick them in the foam, you know, you probably lose a quarter inch. So
yeah. You put a little glue in there to keep them moist and so they can grow better.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I attached all those with the Gorilla Glue gel. Because I could actually see that I got it on the end of the stalk, you know, before I planted it. Yeah. So I got to order some more corn. It's only half done. If I pan the camera back, you can see there's still another. Oh, that's probably 2 foot or more left to go. So did that, and I've got some rock work done over here. Got my mountain stained. Still working on pine trees. I built some of the bottle brush pine trees, you know.
Yeah, how'd those come out, Phil?
That's what they end up looking like.
Can you bring it closer to the camera,
Yep.
please?
So
Whoa.
this is a bottle brush tree.
Yeah, I used wire, paintbrush. They call them chip brushes, I guess. And spun them up, spray painted them green, then sprayed Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive on them, and then sprinkled the ground up reindeer moss over top of them.
Those look pretty good, actually. Those don't look too bad.
Yeah,
I had
I'm
my
happy
doubts
with
when I was watching you make them, but now that I see the final product, they don't look too bad.
Yeah.
So where'd you get the material brush at?
The brush was a chip brush, a paintbrush.
A paintbrush.
Yeah, you know,
It's those real cheap brushes you buy at Home Depot and all for
they were,
$1, depending on size.
you know, just a 4-inch wide brush,
Oh, okay.
and I got
Oh, so you're taking all the stuff off
baggie.
of them.
Right, yeah, but I got a baggie of the hairs,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just,
Took some wire and twist it.
Yep,
Okay.
got a board that I took and put a nail in and strip off a 2-foot piece of wire and wrap it around the nail and stick it in the end of my power drill and spin it till the wire snaps. And so then you've got the structure of all these trees, and then I just go through with a pair of scissors then and snip them to make them kind of tree shaped,
So you kind of lay the fibers across the wire before you twist it?
Yeah, what I end up
Twisting it,
doing was taking a piece of the fabric tape. It comes on a roll, and it's not really sticky, but it comes on this roll. And it's this happens to be green. I've seen it in brown, but it sticks to wire. It also wraps to, like, if you wanted to stick dry flowers together. That's what I use to attach my trees that I made out of sedum. So what I did is I took a piece of this and I laid it out on my board, and then I hit it with spray adhesive, just a light dusting of it, then laid the fibers on, and then lifted that up and stuck it on one side of the wire, and it really doesn't stick, it's just kind of holding it there. Then push the two wires together and hook the drill up to it and start spinning it, and once the wire starts to grab that tape, then you can ease off and open it up with the torque on instead of the speed, and it just twists it right down and locks all those fibers in.
So you're using that green floral wire?
Yep. Yeah, I'm using
And that's the floral tape too.
Yep, I'm just using this wire here. This is a, I think this is a 20 gauge wire. It might be 18. I've got several different types depending on what I'm twisting up, you know. I've got, let's see here. I've got some trees that I had to make for Lee, and they're the wire trees, and that's those there. This material here is Woodland Scenic's fine leaf, I believe it's called. What it looks like is it looks like a root from some kind of plant. Very spanly, and then Woodland Scenic sprays it and then puts a foam on it. And what you do is you strip it off, and then that's what these three trees are. I got kind of like a birch one here, and this was one of the bigger ones. And I've got another one sitting around here someplace that's just the moss. That's it's the ground up. This one here is just the ground up moss, which I don't know if you can see the difference between the two textures. Do I need to get the camera closer?
No.
No, okay.
So on your tree trunk, what'd you cover it in?
It's a wire armature twisted up, handmade.
So smooth, though. I mean, did you coat it in something?
Yeah, I coated it in the Woodland Scenic's latex rubber.
Oh, okay.
Gave each tree 2 coats, one real heavy, and then another one, and then spray painted them just with, you know, spray can, rattle can.
Phil Sparky wants to know the root system we see, is that wire? The roots at the bottom of the trunks?
Yes, yes, that's the wire that's been twisted out and then coated, you know.
Yeah.
There is no pins in the bottom of those, so they're freestanding. You have to kind of give them a little twist here and there, you know, to get them to stand, but basically that's. Go ahead,
I'm sure you could bend them down 90 degrees and poke them down into your, you know, ground in the foam or something like that to keep them secure. And
yeah. Once you coat these wire armatures like this one here, you can just, you know, I can take that and twist it anywhere I want, and it's covered with latex. So you can form these any way you want once you get them, you know, built.
Yeah. And the roots can be bent down, so it's
I could take that and bend it down and shove it in, you know, if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Bend it back, do whatever.
John, I'm going to go start the after show.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Hey, Phil.
All right.
When you're wrapping your wire to make this tree from the beginning, how many wraps do you use on one of the small trees there?
What's
And
that
how
again,
long
Scott?
are they?
Like this one here?
Yeah.
That tree's just about 6 inches tall. I started off with 15 inches wire wrapped around a piece of cardboard, and this has probably got like 25 wraps, and I used 26-inch gauge wire for that one. Some other ones I've used a thicker wire. Like this one here was 18 gauge wire. This is the first one I did, and I covered this one in modeling clay. And you can see how this one branch here, this is all busted off. It's real
Yeah, it's
brittle.
not a camera.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well. Timber. Yeah. This one here.
Okay, yeah, we see that now.
It's this all broke off of here. So they're not very it's not very durable at all.
All right, gentlemen, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to let y'all keep the show running a few minutes. I got to run up check on my son. I hear him banging on the floor. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
He just got through the hip surgery. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I mean, that tree that's sitting right there that you say that is broke, that'd be good, like sitting out in the middle of a field on a farm that's been used and abused, weather-wise. You always see one tree on a farm that looks like that.
Yeah, it's got a pile of debris around it. Like the farmer had all these branches and rocks and everything else he's plowed up, and he's just piled it up near this old dead tree. So I'm going to burn it someday and take it all down.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jim called that my cemetery tree. This one.
Put a tire swing on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this tree back here, which is a pretty big one, this is the one that's going to go in front of my farmhouse. That'll have a tire swing on it and stuff.
There's a treehouse in there.
Yeah, that's the biggest one that I've made so far. That was 42 wires to start off with, and each one was 18 inches long to start with. And Johnny had sent me an email with a link to a gentleman that he had just mentioned, like train modeler or something like that, a guy from England, where he shows how to do the armatures like I'm doing, but he also has a process where you take straight wires and you tape them all together so you get this huge trunk. So you have, let's say, 18-inch tall wires, and you bend like one wire out or two, and you wrap it around to keep that base tight, that big solid group together. And then you do some twisting at the limbs, so you get all these different groupings farther up into the tree for different branch heights. And then once he gets it all done, then he can go in and he can give it little tweaks and bends to make it look like it's reaching for the sun. And it's
that's sweet, dude. I don't know if you got your Q&A up, but Sparky just said that that's the same. They are close-up trees for sure. Great detailing, roots, and branches. High detailing.
Thank you, Sparky. Yeah, right after I came in, I had the Q&A up. Some of you guys know my layout's on the other side of the room away from my computer, but I seen that he had posted a comment about being only in the hobby a year and a half and feeling shy about being on camera and not knowing all that much. Sparky, I've only been in the hobby for a year and a half, if that,
Yeah. Me and you joined about the same time, brother.
Yes, we did. Yeah, maybe 2 years now. So with this community, you learn so much quickly.
And if you got any kind of questions, there are so many professional modelers that are in this group that will bend over backwards to give anybody a helping hand.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Scott, for that accolade.
Oh, you wasn't supposed to. I was talking about Big Bill.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Sparky, don't be camera shy.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Scott? He's one ugly dude, man.
Well, he's making his YouTube videos, so he's not too scared of the camera.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, it'll come with time.
Right. Says, I am presenting to everyone. You must have done that.
Yeah, I did that while you were showing trees.
Okay.
Now you're not presented to everyone.
Okay.
You know, I'm thinking about doing that style of tree making myself, so yeah, I'd like to attempt that as well.
Like I said, Johnny sent me a link, and what was that guy's name, John? Was that the train modeler or something like that?
No, that's the terrain tutor.
Train tutor, that was it, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one I'm working on. He's going to be on the show with Kathy Millett.
Okay, yeah. I that was very interesting. I'm gonna have to try that. As some of you know, I'm getting married next month, so the wife put a stop. Yeah, my wife, soon-to-be wife, has put a stop on expenses on the train. So what I have is what I can only model over the last 2 months.
Josh, there's living proof of what we was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So does Marie know you're getting married?
Yes. Yeah, she does. Actually.
She's very agreeable to it.
Oh my gosh. She's been too agreeable to it.
I thought you were already married to Marie.
Well, we call each other husband and wife. We did a wedding ceremony 3 years ago at a Renaissance festival, where it was for people that were already married, and you like renew your vows.
Yeah.
And the king or the whatever, the lord that had married us, come around. He was talking to each couple, and he shook our hands, and he asked, how long have you guys been married? And I said, about 5 minutes. And he's like got this real panic look on his face, and he's like, no, you haven't. That was not a legal ceremony. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was. You said husband and wife, we exchanged rings, we're married. You know, so from that point on, we just called each other husband and wife. And we were going to wait and do it legally when she graduated college, but opportunity came. Things just kind of fell in place, and I said, heck with it, let's just do it. So yeah, 24th of August, we're going to officially get a license and do it our way, you know.
Did you get your blood work and your pap smears done and all that stuff?
Well, I get blood work done every month, so I know I've got mine done. I know she's just been to the doctor, so neither one of us plan on having kids, and you know, we're in our 50s now, and you know, we don't do that anymore. That's only for young kids.
See, that's another thing, Josh. When you get older, it fades away.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just inherited 3 grandkids. His daughter got killed in a car crash last week.
Oh, sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's 61.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inheriting 4 kids with this marriage. One's still at home. The other one's moving to Seattle tomorrow.
Yeah. Tell you what, we done hit the bewitching hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Thank you, timekeeper.
Yes.
Oh, let's see here.
Very true, Sparky.
just kind of wanted to go through the August schedule for the Hangouts here for everybody. This is the Tuesday night Hangouts. So we got August the 9th, which is the Geno show with Miles Hale. He'll be on location at Russ Wise Layout. I don't know exactly what part of the country that's in, but that'll be the Geno show with Miles Hale. He's doing layout tours this year, and he's really been showing us some nice stuff. Then August the 23rd, we'll have the Barry Mike Tech Show, and they are going to do an introduction on pickaxe circuit boards and how they can be used in the modeling, pretty much for lighting, stuff like that, kind of animation type work. That would be pretty interesting. Also, August, let me look here real quick. Go 1, 2, 3. August the 20th will be the next YouTube Mall Builders live show, monthly live show. I don't have the schedule at hand on that. Sorry about that. So I can't tell you exactly what Big Bill's roster is, who's going to help her guest what the show's going to be about. But that will be announced here pretty soon. So that's August the 20th for the live show. Yeah, let me get back up here and see if I can do a presentation. Screen shared. Alrighty. I want to say thanks to everybody. Sparky, Professor, Curtis, Dwight. Man, is my memory short tonight. Those are the ones that are in the Q&A, the panel. Bob, thanks for being here in Newcastle. Appreciate it. Jason, always good to see you. Scott, it's good having you in here. We also had Andy in here. Mr. Hawks from Canada was in here for a good bit of it. So I want to say thank you to everybody for participating in tonight's show. So keep checking in on YouTubeMallBuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on the Tuesday night presentations, the eMag, and the live show schedules. The live show is once every month. August 20th will be our next show. The eMag is bi-monthly, and that just came out in July, so the next one won't be out till about the middle of September for the eMag. And the live show schedules, yeah, I already did that, didn't I? Yeah, live shows. Tuesday presentations are every other week now. And Thursday's channel Hangout, yeah, which is every week as well. You can go to the website, sign up for the eMag, be notified by email when it does come out. That is PDF, so it allows you to view it on a wide range of different devices. And I want to say thank you to everybody for participating in tonight's Hangout. And that's it. Do what, Scott?
Said thank you for having us.
Hey, no problem. Appreciate you coming in. The more we get, the better the show gets. The more variety of topic we have. All right, with that said, everybody have a good weekend. And we will catch you next week, Thursday night, same time, same channel. Goodbye.
Bye.